I came straight out of school, John. I started what was in PMPA at the time, 6 months in Dublin, and then I moved to Roscrea. And at that time, I suppose I was 2.5 years into my PMPA life. They had ran into a little bit of trouble, and I ended up losing my position in Roscrea, but still with the company, moved to Kilkenny and spent the next, I suppose, 34 years in Kilkenny. So 37.7 in total with, I suppose, AXA. I suppose I got an opportunity. In 2018, they offered a package, and I just felt the time had actually come for me to try and do something for myself. And it's not that I didn't enjoy my job, I did, but at the same time, I did feel that I suppose needed to fulfill something else. And so with a little bit of a dream, to say the least, and not much other thought in it. I suppose it was the dream or the passion that was driving me forward. I applied for the package. I eventually got it, and I left AXA in January, the 31st of January, 2019. So 3 years in being.
You spent 37 years working with AXA Insurance. And what really motivated you to take that redundancy package and to get that business, Billy's Good Luck Horseshoes, up and running? What was your internal motivation for doing that?
When you work for 37 years for a company, you know, you have a surround around you, and sometimes you do, you know, you get to the stage. My last child, Mike, was halfway through college. And I suppose when there was a package on the table, I did actually look at it, and I suppose that was probably the motivator, really. It probably, like in thought, it gave me an opportunity to look at something different. And it's not that I didn't like where I was. I absolutely loved where I was. And I can actually, you know, hand on heart say my friends were who I worked with. My customers were even my friends. So I had, you know, grown a community around myself. But at the same time, I had never actually done anything for myself. I suppose all my working life would have been taken up very much with home. The lads would have competed quite a lot. Christine then swam. So our life, I suppose, outside of work was very much a sporting life. We swam in the morning at 5:30. And then in the evenings after work when we ate, then we were going running or we were going horse riding or whatever. And every weekend there was something. It was either a swimming gala or I suppose a riding competition.
I understand what you're saying there, because I spent 25 years myself working as an accountant in industry, and accountancy tends to be very deadline oriented and very much here and the now. And you're always reporting up to your boss or their boss or their boss's boss. And, you know, you're always filling in forms, controlling this, controlling that, doing this budget, doing this forecast, month-end accounts. It's very deadline focused. And I think, you know, in my own life, looking back at it, I'm actually doing stuff in my life now that I actually love, to be quite honest.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely love what I do. Now, that's not to say that I did actually start it with absolutely no experience of a business, whereas I was in a job that I had a surround around me. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was very good at it. You know, if I needed something, there was always somebody around me that was able to help or, you know, give their opinion or whatever. But suddenly then, when I left on the 31st of January and on the 1st of February, I was on my own, and it was, you know, you get on with it or you don't. And even though, like, Ed is here and the lads are here, at the same time, it was me that was carrying this. And I suppose I didn't think too much into that. I had gone to the local enterprise office to get some help and some mentoring, and they did actually give it. But at the same time, you carry the can yourself, and you need to get on with it then and move on yourself. And I suppose, look at, I have done that. I suppose the first year I kind of meandered along to a point, and then COVID hit, and you just, that's another kind of, you know, stop in the road that you kind of say, right, do you stop now or do you not? And that probably shook me up a little bit and drove me on, and I suppose made me get out there and say, I need to move this myself now, and I need to get out and tell people about it. But look at, I suppose, not that I left AXA by any means without thinking about it, but I did leave it on the dream that I was going to set up a business myself, and I was going to make millions, which I'm not, but you know, the dream is there, and I suppose an awful lot of people do that. The technical bit of it and how you get that into play wasn't thought about at all, and I learned an awful lot of that in the last 3 years. My God, I've learned so much, and I've had so much respect for people running a business themselves, because it isn't easy out there by any means, do you know.
Yeah, I understand fully what you're saying there. I mean, I started this business at the very onset of COVID, believe it or believe it not, but have grown tremendously as a person and as a professional person.
Absolutely.
Over the past 2 years.
Yeah. And John, when you're working for yourself, you just have to do that. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You just have to. And you know, it's for some people and it isn't for others. And, you know, you really have to be the person that you have to invent yourself every single day. You have to come with a new idea, put yourself out there. And, you know, that's probably something that I never thought of, but here I am, you know.
Which brings me to my next question. People learn through experience. Can you describe for the audience what has been the biggest learning for you since you started Biddy's Good Luck Horseshoes as a business?
In reality, the biggest learning, John, was probably having confidence in myself, and that's the honest to God's truth. I suppose, as I said to you earlier on, I left AXA on the 31st of January. On the 1st of February, I was on my own, and you're kind of, you know, with no surround around you, and you're directing yourself. And I suppose it's having the confidence in yourself to push that forward. That wasn't easy. And in my case, I was selling a product that I was making. So that was even worse, because I was expecting, you know, somebody to pay money for something that I was after making. And I had to believe in myself, first of all, that I was able to do this. And that took a little bit of time. It took time to get myself out there, to say, you know, because if I didn't get myself out there, nobody else was going to do it. And I had to bring this in front of somebody and say, you know, this is what I'm doing. Would you like to buy it? And, you know, that actually has been the biggest learning curve in the whole lot, having the confidence in myself to be able to do that. And it's not that, I suppose, do you learn that? Does it come with experience? Whatever. But that was the biggest thing, that I suddenly was on my own and I had to carry it.
There are two great learnings for any want-to-be entrepreneur. And there are two learnings I learned myself, to be quite honest, because unless you can sell something to yourself first, whether it's a product or a service, and you believe it's good enough, it's very, very difficult to convince anybody else that your product or service is worthy of their attention. And you also said there that you have to be able to accept rejection. Don't take it to heart. Learn from it.
Oh, no. No, then, John, you can't. You just have to put it over your head and move on. But to, you know, if somebody walks by you and they're not interested, that's okay. Just get on to the next person. And if you're in business, that's something that you're going to come across quite a lot, because everybody's not going to be interested in every product that everybody has. And just that once you understand that, there is a target market out there for you, and that's who you have to home in on, you know.
Okay, thank you for that detailed answer again. Describe the emotions you felt when Biddy's Good Luck Horseshoes was announced as the overall winner of the Supplier of the Year for 2021 by Let's Talk About Weddings.
Let's Talk Weddings, yeah. Oh my God, John. Do you know what? I suppose the previous year I had entered the competition and I was a finalist. And to be honest, I was so delighted to be a finalist. Like, imagine starting a business and you end up being a finalist. I didn't win. And I suppose I probably, to a point, this year, 2021, when I did win it, I hadn't actually considered that I still might be a winner. I hoped that I would at least be a finalist. But honest to God, the feeling of, I suppose, overwhelming joy that people had put their faith in me and that brides had purchased it, or that mothers had bought it for their daughters or whatever. And then they had, made me the supplier of the year for 2021. It's, it gives you such a boost. And I suppose, look at what I would say with any competition, entering competitions it's hard. You're putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself in front of people. You have to do an awful lot of paperwork to get you, a form filled out. You have to really look at your business closely. And you have to look at the direction you're going. And it also makes you look at where you've come from. And then to get to the stage that you actually win, it gives you such a great boost and a confidence building thing. And I suppose just going on that, winning that for me, was such a big thing in myself. It brought me from halfway up the ladder to the top of the ladder, for want of a better word. And I suppose it also gave me the confidence, John, to enter other things. Like this weekend now, on Friday, I have the Equestrian Business Awards are on, and I have 2 interviews. And on Saturday, then the Chamber Awards are on. Now, there again, I've got to the final of the Chamber Awards. But, by winning one, it can make you enter another one. And it isn't easy, but it makes it a little bit easier on yourself to put yourself out there to do those things, and to have a good look at your business.
Yeah. And what you're saying there effectively is, when opportunity meets preparation, success happens. And what you've done is...
Absolutely, that's a very good way of putting it, yeah.
And you've got great confidence from winning that award, about the Weddings Award. And now you're putting yourself forward, you're going for Chamber Awards and other awards. So you're building your success.
And they're a great, and look at, and even, even not winning, it's making me look at my business and the direction of it. So even if you don't win, and even if you get an opportunity, like on Friday, I'm getting an opportunity to showcase my business in front of 2 judges, 2 business people that will possibly give me feedback as well. So even to be able to do that and to tell them about it, isn't that a great experience for me? And doesn't that help me grow another little bit to go on to the next one? So I'm using it, I suppose, as an opportunity to help me grow and to help me get my business out there.
Of course. Now, fair play to you, because by pushing yourself forward, you're developing your business, you're developing your confidence, and people are starting to see you as a successful entrepreneur, and they're going to look into what you're doing well and learn from you.
And John, I didn't always jump outside the box now, I can tell you. It wasn't always like that,
You're a member of the Design and Craft Council. What impact will the future of work have on the design and craft sector?
To be honest, I think the design and craft sector is, I suppose, a sector that, from what I can see, I suppose, have an awful lot of work to do on themselves. It's the Design and Craft Council, for me, have been, I suppose, very motivating, for want of a better word. I have got a lot of mentoring from them. It's a sector in general that, it's the backbone of Ireland. There are so many crafters in Ireland that I suppose we don't hear about, and that people need to buy from and support and whatever. So the Design and Craft Council have been very supportive in getting the message out there. For me, I've got a lot of mentoring from them, and something like the initiative of Made Local, and to be part of that and to be able to put it out there that I am a member and that I'm supporting the Made Local initiative. That has been huge, because by being a member, you're part of a group, and it brings a little bit of, I suppose, being authentic. And they don't give the Made Local to everybody. So at least they have looked at our business and they know what I'm doing. And they know that I'm genuine and whatever. So that in itself, even being a member and being part of the Made Local, has given an authenticity to my business, which is really big. I suppose the other thing for me in particular with the Design and Craft Council and with the Local Enterprise Office is that one of my big aims for the business would be to export more than what I'm doing at the moment. I am doing some, but I need to grow that side of the business. And they have been hugely supportive. Last week, I don't know whether you might have seen on my social that I went to Showcase, and I would hope that next year I will be at Showcase. So I went to, I suppose, to explore what it was all about and see if it was a place that I could be. And I certainly think that next year it is a place that I will be, where I can meet prospective buyers from the UK, maybe US in particular, because I do think I have a product that will sell there. It's like a very genuine product. It's true to the old tradition, and it is a very Irish product in that all of the horseshoes, you know, they've touched Irish soil. They've been so close to nature in the Irish countryside. So I suppose it's with the help of the Design and Craft Council that I have been able to, I suppose, formulate that piece as well.
And good luck with your potential exports.
I am
idea.
doing it at the minute, but just I need to just build on that part, just to drive it forward another little bit, you know.
Yeah, of course. There's always room for improvement, as I say.
There's always room for improvement, absolutely.
True. Looking back over your last 3 years as an entrepreneur, since setting up Biddy's Good Luck Horseshoes, what one piece of advice would you give to a potential entrepreneur who's considering starting a business?
Very first thing I would say is go for it. Okay. Just, you know, if you have an idea, explore it. Do not decide that you're not going to do it because you haven't got the whatever, you haven't got the courage, whatever. You need to do it for yourself and give it a go. Okay, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But, you know, if you have an idea, you do need to put it out there and see will it work, because in 2 or 3 years' time, you'll regret that you didn't do it. So that's the one thing, I suppose. I'm so delighted that I've got the opportunity, for want of a better word, to drive Biddy's Good Luck Horseshoes on. And okay, it's working in my case, which is so wonderful. But I do think for anybody out there that has an idea, you know, explore it. Give it a chance, because you'll regret it if you don't. That's my one thing, you know, and that's from, you know, from working all of my life and then seeing what can be done.
I understand fully what you're saying there. Once you have an idea, the important thing is to get it out there and to ask people for pertinent feedback. And even if the feedback is somewhat negative initially, you can always develop your idea, John, and refine it.
Because if you get feedback, I suppose from what I started with initially, now I know the concept is the same, it was always a horseshoe, but at the same time, you know, feedback, don't take it as a negative, take it as a learning, and that's the thing. So it doesn't matter what you're putting out there, do get feedback, because the feedback will help you to perfect the product that you eventually put out. And that can be a service, it can be anything. So if you think you can help somebody in some way, you know, give it a go. It, you know, and I mean, if you're presently working, give it a go as a side hustle. See how it goes. Do you know? Don't not do it because you'll regret it later on.
The worst you can get is where people don't give you feedback, or they give you feedback that's effectively flattery, and they're giving you
Well, see, that's no good either, because
confidence.
you need to
That's no
learn.
good.
Yeah.
You have to hear the negative and refine your idea and take it forward from there.
Yeah, and you have to be able to take the negative as well, I suppose. Don't let them, you have to be able to say a negative is actually a positive because you're going to change something. So it's to be able to take the negative not as a negative, to turn it into, it's to be able to turn the negative into a positive. There you go.
Into a learning point.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's huge. So when somebody gives you a negative, by God, like plenty of negatives, you turn them into a positive for yourself.
Yeah. You mentioned about traditions there a couple of minutes ago. How important are the old traditions in today's multicultural Irish society?
Oh, John, tradition is so important. And I suppose it's probably the older I get that I see that the old traditions are sometimes being lost. Tradition, I suppose, brings you back to your roots and everything else that's there. Just to give you an idea, and I suppose this is just a horseshoe that I did yesterday. It went in the post yesterday. So a couple bought a house from an old man, right? I don't know actually how old he was, but say he was old. He might have died, and then they bought the house. And they found a horseshoe in the house. Now, this is just giving you an idea. Now, they're a young couple. They may not have known an awful lot about a horseshoe other than it's for good luck. But anyway, found the horseshoe. The horseshoe has been taken by a friend of theirs. They don't know what she's doing with it. So she sent the horseshoe to me. The couple have now had a baby, and they've called the baby after the man that owned the house. And the friend has now got the horseshoe done as a baby gift for the couple. That's going to be, it's a piece of history that they're putting in their home now. That shoe has been given a new life with that baby. And I suppose it's a piece of Irish heritage that they can now keep in their home. And isn't that so special? And if that shoe could actually talk and tell a story, by God, wouldn't it have some story to tell? So that's just one example of, an old tradition, bringing it forward into a present day time. And it's there now, repurposed as a piece that they can hang in their home. And it's no longer the rusty, piece of iron that's sitting in a drawer where nobody can see. So they now have, a piece of Irish heritage that they can actually put on their wall or door or wherever. Yeah. So bringing those old traditions and keeping them alive, like that's such a beautiful thing. And I suppose, there are so many of them, and in particular, there are so many of them attached with weddings, like anything from the shamrock to the linen to the horseshoe to the cladder ring. They're all beautiful Irish traditions that, are there for years and years and years, and they have such a special place within the Irish heritage and culture.
Thank you for that very detailed answer again. And can you describe how you can customize your products to suit the needs and tastes of a client?
Absolutely. So just, I suppose, two really good examples of actually doing that. I provide horseshoes for, I suppose, they're our own horseshoes. So I would know the source, I know the horse that used the horseshoe or whatever. But a few weeks ago there, I got 2 horseshoes from a mother in up the country, and they were for 2 different occasions. I suppose the horseshoes came, they were rusty, they were 2 horseshoes that was used in time, and then they were left out in the shed, and obviously they looked very dishevelled, for want of a better word. One was for her daughter, who's getting married in April. Second was for her son, who's taken over the farm. So 2 completely different occasions. So obviously the one for the wedding was done with pearls, lace, luxury ribbon. We put on brooches for a little bit of sparkle. And it had a completely new feel to it. And we painted it gold. And it's an amazing piece for that girl now to have on her wedding day. That particular shoe touched the land or the farm that they had, so she can now carry that into her home. The second shoe is actually for their son that's taking over the farm. So it was a dairy farm, so we had a little cow on it, and we had the date that the transaction is actually happening on, which is the end of March. So obviously that shoe had a completely different feel, but the sentiment was the same from both of them. It was all about the good luck and protection. So that's just an idea of two shoes that came to me, 2 very different reasons why they were being decorated, and they looked obviously totally different. But John, do you know what? I mean, I do shoes for every occasion, and I suppose I do them from really happy occasions like the weddings and the engagements and birthdays, to really sad occasions like somebody's sick and somebody wants to send them a gift, or I do fairy doors for baby angels, like which are really sad, and but when somebody receives one, it's such an uplifting thing because they know the meaning behind it.
Again, thank you for that very detailed answer. So to summarize today's gift show interview, what I can take away in terms of 3 remarkable learnings are, first of all, you have to believe in yourself as a salesperson, as a business person. You've got to believe in your product and service before you can convince anybody else. Secondly, it's important to be passionate about your business, and you have to convey that passion to your clients and also to people who are going to support you. And there you also mentioned in this interview today that's a remarkable thing, is have support mechanisms around you, whether it's your Chamber of Commerce, your local enterprise office, Enterprise Ireland, for example, because you need as many of these support mechanisms if you want to get into the export sector and grow your business in new markets, as you mentioned, in the UK and the US. Before I let you go, Anne, is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, just John, on that particular note and the supports, another thing is surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with the people that will carry you on. It's other people carry you on. It's like-minded people. Like I would do an awful lot of networking. And that's really important for my business because it's getting it out there and it's getting other people to, I suppose, spread the word as well. So that's, you need to get out of your own head and get into, talk to other people. And I suppose from networking, okay, the sales, that's not to the fore. You're putting yourself to the fore, you're building relationships, you're talking to people, you're getting ideas. The sales will come after that. But it is important to get out there, and social media is absolutely great, but you still have to network as well. You still have to connect with people. And I don't think, it doesn't matter what business you're in, I do think you still need to do that. And from connecting with like-minded people, you gain information and knowledge, which helps yourself and your own business. So that's just another thing that, has been huge for me and huge in building my business up.
I agree 100% what you're saying there, Anne, because you've got to connect with people and get to know people, ask people.
And it has to, and like-minded people. They have to be people that are in business themselves, it kind of, and they will help you and they will push you on, and they'll also give you ideas to better yourself.
Indeed, that's great. And on today's, I'll start again. On I'll start again. On that note, I will bring today's show to an end. Thank you, Anne.
Not a bother, John. It was a pleasure. Thanks very much for having me, and I suppose for giving me the opportunity.
You're very, very welcome, Anne. Thank you.
No bother at all.